Hello, please forgive the unusual environment that I'm filming in. This is very much a product of circumstances beyond my control at the moment. A quick video on handling rough and smooth decks, specifically on how to separate cards, I suppose, how to keep them together and separate them. I'm going to start with this one that is roughed with a spray. That means that just for reference, this one is a Popeye deck, this because it's the one I've got to hand. That means that they are all pairs. The face card is indifferent and the back card is all the King of Diamonds. The King of Diamonds are all fully roughed on the face and the indifferent ones are all fully roughed on the back. That means that when you apply pressure into the deck, it's like squeezing it together and spread through, all the indifferent cards stay together. To separate them, what a lot of people do is try and squeeze and push them apart, and that will work to an extent. It's not the best way to do it, mainly because the more you push in and push away, that is going to take the finish off the card more. So you will wear out your roughing quicker by applying pressure into it to separate it. You won't run out of it by just keeping them together, but by separating them. Like the more you do this with the card, the more it's going to rub it off. The best way to separate it was with a really light touch. So you give it a bit of pressure to run through, and when you've reached the pair you want to separate, push the card off a bit. That's a double that's come off. Put one finger on the bottom just to contact the card to give it a bit of friction, I guess, a bit of pressure that way. And then rest your thumb on the top, and you want as little possible pressure downwards, or as little pressure downwards as possible, and then just slide to the side, and they'll just slide off. So we've got absolutely minimal pressure downwards. It's just a sideways action that makes it split. You can go to make it split. I mean, it will split, but that is kind of where people run into a problem with it, about trying to give it too much pressure to make it split, when it should just be a nice, really light touch, and it will just push off. The trouble I have with this is I get really dry fingers. And if you've got really dry fingers, you end up with just pushing your thumb across the card and nothing happening. Now, there's nothing worse than going to do this if you're performing for someone and you're close up and you're going, pick a card just a second. Separate. Don't lick your fingers. I know there's a temptation for it, but no, it's horrible. Just apply a bit of moisturiser. That does it. I keep a tiny little tub in my close-up kit, and then just apply that now and again. So yeah, run through, pressure down, run through. When you reach the card you want, absolutely minimal pressure down. It's just the sideways pressure that splits it. Okay. Just a second, I'll cover the other one. The alternative way of roughing something is with a roughing stick. This one is an invisible deck, and it is roughed just across the middle. I'm sure you all know what an invisible deck is, but I'll quickly go through it anyway. It's 26 pairs of cards, and they're all paired up back to back. With these, the roughing is just in a little band just across the middle there. So there's like a ½ an inch at the top and the bottom that isn't roughed at all. So for this, keep pressure again to keep them together. What you need to make sure you do is you keep pressure in that where that middle band is. So fingers and thumbs in the middle to run through. To separate these, you will find that the light touch still works. Putting a heavy touch on this really doesn't work. That is because the roughing stick, the material it is stickier. It's stickier under pressure than the spray is. So the best way to separate these is when you reach the card that you want to separate, all you need to do is move the pressure from here to either here or here, to that bottom section or that top section that's not got the roughing on it. And then just push, and you can put as little or as much pressure as you want on there. Because it isn't roughed, it will just separate. So for hang on, try and get the angle on this. So you would run through, you would find the card you're looking for, and your thumbs just go to the top of it or the bottom of it and just push, and then continue from the middle, like that. Or if you like to perform your invisible deck up this way, it's run through, say I'm looking for that one. Ooh. Sorry, it's a really bad angle. Let me try it this way. So you run through, you find, say I'm looking for the 10 of spades, you go, there's the 10, thumb goes to the top, push across, that separates it, and then continue from the middle. Try that from the front. So go, you find the card you want to separate, and it goes pressure to the top. Not quite as obvious as that, but as you're running through, you just go, oops, sorry, wrong one, that one. I don't usually perform it this way, I usually perform it this way. So I would go, run through, there. That makes sense. Basically, yeah, your roughing's on that middle bit, so it's pressure on that middle bit to keep it together, pressure on the top or the bottom to separate it. There you go. And for anyone that stuck this out for over 7 minutes, thank you. A couple of little bonus handling tips for the invisible deck. So you run through, you find the card you're separating, separate it there, split the deck at this point, square up everything in this hand, pop it on the bottom, square up the whole deck here. So before you reveal this one, what you've got here now is you've got a deck that's got a back. So you can just like subtly show that that's a back. Alternatively, you can just turn the whole deck over. So you've now run through a face up deck, taken out a face down card and turned this deck over. And this just gives that added little, this is a regular deck thing, because they haven't seen any backs apart from this one. But now they're looking down at a very familiar sight of you holding an upside down deck of cards. So you then reveal that one. And to reset, that just goes back on the top and that's your deck reset. Easy as that. There is another way to show the backs once you've got into this position, is because this is roughed and it's roughed into pairs, if you slightly bevel the cards backwards like that, what that does is, rather than it having 52 steps like you would usually have for a bevel, because these are roughed into pairs, you've got 26. You've got 26 steps that are all 2 cards high. That means that if you put your finger onto the bottom of it and run up, you will only contact every other card. So you can get, let's try and get this in camera, and this is very, very knacky. And you will get, like I say, very, very knacky, just backs. So this is really awkward at this angle, but you get a kind of a very, very weak Svengali. And it's just a regular invisible deck, it's not short or anything. It is just because when you bevel it backwards, you're getting 26 steps rather than 52. Well, yeah, that'll do for maths. If anyone cares. I mean, no, Your audience doesn't care. But I care. Right, thank you. Anyone that has stuck this out for 10 minutes, thank you very much. Have a lovely day, and I hope you're all staying safe. Thank you.